Good afternoon and welcome to Upper Newport Bay Nature Preserve. My name is Sue Stoffel and I'm going to be your guide today on the Wild Files, the art of wildlife investigations. As we know, wildlife can be found anywhere, at home, at our schools, at our work, but wildlife acts a lot different than our domesticated dogs and cats at home. They don't run out of the bushes to give us kisses and hugs, but instead they leave us clues behind to let us know the who, what, where, and why of wildlife activity. Today we're going to become wild investigators in training, and we're going to learn the 3 S's of wildlife investigations, and that is scat, skulls, and steps. But before we begin our training, it's important to know as a wild investigator, it is our responsibility to respect the boundaries and the homes of our wildlife friends. We definitely don't want to go off trail, we don't want to litter, and we want to make sure that we don't try and catch or chase any of our wildlife friends. So come with me, let's go find and discover our first of the 3 S's. We've already gone maybe 2 or 3 steps and we've already found our first S of the 3 S's of wildlife investigations. This is scat. Scat is a nice word for animal droppings or poop, but poop always makes us giggle when we use that word. So we're going to use the word scat. Now scat can be very tiny or very big, depending on how big the animal is. You can have teeny tiny caterpillar poop, or you can have big giant scat from animals like horses. I like to equivalent some of our scat to some of the foods we'd like to eat, because basically scat is used food. So we're going to start with one of my favorite critters here at the bay, the brush rabbit. A lot of times we'll find brush rabbit scat all over the trails and even sometimes near our interpretive center. They basically look like Cocoa Puffs, the cereal. Little brown balls that can be scattered about, usually about 2 or 3, maybe even 4 at a time. But if you see little brown balls that are in a big pile, that's usually our deer friends, which they also look a lot like my favorite candy in the world, sugar babies. They also have a shape of little tiny footballs. So if you find a big pile of little shaped footballs, you're probably finding deer scat. Now, fascinatingly enough, when we get to our larger mammals, like a bobcat, these animals are carnivores, so they eat meat only. And their scat comes out segmented, almost like a Tootsie Roll. And of course it's full of fur, because bobcats don't like to eat salad. They like to eat only meat. But an animal that will eat meat and salad is our coyote friends. And the perfect example of coyote scat would be licorice whips, but in particular, Twizzlers. Because coyotes have that roped, twisted look to it, and they also, importantly, have this pinched off end, which usually has fur in it. Interestingly enough, our dogs at home will also leave scat that's very similar to this, with a pinched off end, but usually without the fur, because they're usually just eating dog food. The coyote scat can be a little tricky. You may sometimes think it's coyote scat, but it might actually be a dog. Last, our biggest mammal in the area would be our mountain lions. Again, it's a cat, so it's going to be segmented. It's going to have fur in it, but it's going to be a lot bigger than the bobcat. In fact, it looks kind of like meatballs, especially if you were to sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on there. That looks exactly like a good mountain lion scat pile. Now, the best way to determine what scat is to take a good look at it, then pick it up, smell it, and then maybe take a little taste. I'm just kidding. Please, folks, don't ever pick up scat. This is a replica. Scat, although our wild animal friends are so cute and adorable, their scat can contain bacteria and viruses that can be very harmful to humans. So if you do want to investigate scat, make sure you have gloves on, you have an adult present, and you wear a face mask. That way, none of the viruses or the bacteria can harm you. Let's go see what else we can find on the trail. I think I see something else on the trail. It could be our second S in the 3 S's. This is going to be skulls. Skulls are an amazing find. Usually you don't find them all together, but if you can find the teeth and the eye sockets, you're in good shape. You can tell what kind of animal it is, what it likes to eat, and whether it's a predator or a prey. Our first skull that we're going to examine is a large one. And if you notice, all the teeth in our skull here are all very sharp, almost kind of like volcano teeth with fangs. Now, do you think this animal eats salad? Probably doesn't. It uses these ripping teeth to get its meat. Yum, yum, yum. Its eyes are also facing straight ahead, which means it's a predator. It's seeking its prey. Of course, with the large size of this head, This probably isn't a bobcat or one of our house cats. This is a mountain lion with beautiful ripping teeth as a carnivore. Our next skull that we're going to examine has no volcanoes or fangs, has all flat teeth, kind of like rolling hills. This animal will be an herbivore, or an animal that eats only grasses, because it has to constantly grind all its salad food, which kind of chisels down its teeth so they're nice and smooth and flat, like rolling hills. This, of course, with those front teeth, you can tell, probably a beaver. And last, we have a skull that has rolling hills, volcanoes, and fangs. Oh my goodness, what is it? Probably an omnivore. It eats both salad and meat. Ripping teeth for the meat, grinding teeth for the vegetation, long nose, eyes pointing forward. This animal's an omnivore who's also a predator. It's probably a coyote. So to review, rolling hills, grinding teeth. This is an herbivore, eats only grasses. Lots like our horses, our cows, and sheep. Volcano teeth and fangs. Probably a carnivore, ripping teeth for meat. This is usually our cats. Combination of all of them, rolling hills, volcanoes, and fangs. It's an omnivore, it eats both meat and vegetation. So if you feel your teeth with your tongue, I feel rolling hills in the back of my mouth. I feel flat teeth up front, but I also feel fangs. What do you think I eat? I eat both meat and vegetation. I'm an omnivore, as most humans are. Let's go see what else we can find on the trail. We've already covered 2 of our 3 S's. We've had scat, we've had skulls. Next up will be steps. So let's go trailblazing and find some of those steps. Here are the steps or tracks of some of our common animals found here at the bay. As you can notice, our 2 cats, the mountain lion and the bobcat, have no nails showing. They just show their paws. They have 4 toes, and then their pad has almost a filled-in M appearance. See, when cats are walking, they don't put their claws out. They save those claws to climb trees. They're retractable claws. So when a cat's walking, it doesn't have his claws out. Different than a dog like our coyote here, where his nails are out all the time. If you have a dog at home, you'll understand their nails grow very long, and as they walk, those nails actually scrape the dirt and give you a nice couple points above their toes. Also with the dogs, instead of the filled-in M, they have what looks like a nose. A filled-in nose there, or a triangle shape. That's how you can tell the difference. Also a great thing is look at the difference in size. Sometimes people will find bobcat tracks when they thought they were mountain lion tracks. A bobcat track actually is about 3 fingers that can fit in the palm of your hand. That's how small a bobcat track is. Where a mountain lion is the entire size of my palm. That's a big difference in size between cats. Where a coyote, a little bit bigger, just about 2 inches. I think a lot of us think of coyotes as having big, giant feet like big Great Danes, when actually they have small little paws, more like your smaller German Shepherds. Now, some of our animal friends have these wonderful kind of hand-looking tracks, just like we do. Our raccoons with 5 fingers and their nails showing, and our opossums look very, very similar when you're looking at their steps. But the big difference is the opossum has that wonderful opposable thumb, just like us. So if you see a hand in the ground, but it has a thumb out to the right or to the left, you're probably seeing an opossum. If you're seeing them all out front, it's probably a raccoon. Now here's 2 of my favorite tracks. First is our deer, our mule deer. They look almost like upside down hearts, kind of that heart shape with the 2 little points up there, which is their dew claws. Also, since they're hooved animals, they usually make the best tracks, along with some of our horses that visit the preserve as well. And brush rabbits, it's amazing. When they make their tracks, their back foot actually lands first before their front foot because they're hopping. So they hop on their big feet with their front paws behind them, and they hop just like that. So the back foot looks like it's in front of the front foot. And those are actually the tracks that I see right now. Let's go investigate. I see the rabbit was hopping. I see his back foot in front of his front foot. Let's go see where he went. sign of the rabbit yet. And I don't see any scat. I wonder where he went. Oh, it's silly Carl the coyote. Carl, what are you doing out here? Do you think that maybe Carl ate the rabbit? Probably not, because although Carl is a real coyote, Carl is no longer alive. He's a taxidermy coyote. And although it's kind of sad, at the same time it's wonderful to have taxidermied animals such as Carl, because it lets us know what the wildlife looks like and even what they feel like without bothering the animals that are living here in the preserve. So this concludes our wild investigations training. Congratulations, you're all now wild investigators. Together we learned the 3 S's of wildlife investigation: scat, skulls, and steps. Now you're ready to hit the trails and explore and learn more about our amazing wildlife friends. But remember, as wild investigators, it's our responsibility to respect the boundaries and the homes of our wildlife friends. That means staying on trail, not littering, and watching where our dog friends, if we bring them to the park, goes. Thank you for joining me. My name is Sue Stoffel. This has been a student presentation of the Wild Files, the Art of Wildlife Investigations for Northern Arizona University's Parks and Recreation Management Program 360, Interpretations for Parks. Thank you for joining me, and get outside and get wild.